This episode is sponsored by Bright Cellars. Bright Cellars is a monthly wine club that matches you with wine that you'll love. Start your discovery by taking the Bright Cellars quiz and answer unique questions about your favorite chocolate and how you drink your tea. Through learning more about you, Bright Cellars will find the perfect wine to suit your taste buds by creating a personalized taste profile, which improves over time as you rate more wines. The best part, your wine arrives at your door each month, eliminating the need to venture out to the grocery store or liquor store to waste money on bottles that might not even match your tastes. And every wine comes with a delight guarantee, meaning if you ever dislike one of the wines, Bright Cellars will replace it with a new bottle in your next box. Another cool thing is that Bright Cellars now offers members access to low alcohol wines as well as sparkling wines, so you can find something nice and refreshing. Right now, Bright Cellars is giving Sins fans 60% off their first 4-bottle box, plus a bonus bottle. Go to the link in the description. This deal is almost sinful. Sponsors like Bright Cellars help us continue producing new Sins content each week, so support them by going to brightcellars.com/sinsmay to take the quiz and get started today.
Are you sure you want to commence the drone attack? There will be significant casualties.
Do it! Execute them all!
Oh, this movie is starting with manipulated footage of a good guy to make it seem like he killed a lot of innocent people. Does that mean we're gonna get the running Spider-Man? Now that's a multiverse I can get behind. Also, a extraordinary 1 minute and 9 seconds of logos. Spider-Man slings his way into a subway tunnel on East 59th Street in Manhattan and emerges on 47th Street in Queens for an altogether unnecessary 8 miles of subway tunnel travel that most likely would have ended in death.
Oh no! Oh god! Oh no! Peter? I don't know what to do! Peter? Peter?
If we can hear what's going on, then Happy should be able to as well, and it doesn't take a genius to know it's probably not something he wants to be walking in on.
Is that here?
When Peter opens the blind, none of the blinds in the apartment building on TV open up at all. Why is Time choosing to focus on him being Tony Stark's protege instead of all the murder? And what kind of a front cover is this anyway? Are they really just taking a pop at his age? Man, I sure am glad I watched Stardust before this, because I would have been totally lost on who this was.
I don't believe any of the charges against you are gonna stick.
They wrapped up Spider-Man's Mysterio murder investigation in 8 minutes. And while we know he's innocent, how did the detectives come to this conclusion? Did they find Mysterio's video guy?
Peter, you may have dodged your legal troubles, but things will get much worse. There is still a court of public opinion.
Man, people turned on Spidey quick. Considering how much they deified Stark in Far From Home for his involvement in the unblippiting, you would think Spider-Man would have some equal goodwill carry over from helping to defeat Thanos, right? Peter and Aunt May live pretty high up in this apartment building, right? Like, they were eye to eye with the news helicopter earlier when Peter opened the blinds. So how does someone throw a brick this straight and accurately from the street? The newspaper that this Mysterio fan wrapped around this brick has one of those good old-fashioned movie articles that are filled with vague political gibberish. Why does the discovery of major plot MacGuffins like this Magic Curie box always have to be pitched as a serendipitous surprise? The unbelievable thing isn't that he finds it, it's that the damn thing exists in the first place.
You both like each other, we get it, hang up. There's no new ground being broken.
Happy would be Andrew Garfield at Spider-Man-Sins.
And if you want to read about our inspiring friendship, you can now in my new book, Flashpoint.
I'm this close to dedicating an entire video to everything wrong with this single frame of the movie. How did Flash manage to get a book written, picked up by a publisher, proofed, edited, rewritten, re-edited, and ready to sell in the time since he found out Peter was Spider-Man? If an entire year has passed, the movie should really tell us that. Also, get it, because this movie is basically Marvel's Flashpoint. The only problem is that Marvel is so far ahead of DC that this nod kind of feels like the biggest kid at school bullying the class hamster. We now pause the most anticipated movie since before the end times to bring you 2 full minutes of college rejection letters.
In light of recent controversy, we are unable to consider your application at this time.
Based on what we know about abusing the college admission system, I am shocked that Peter, being a superpowered vigilante, was enough to get him and his friends rejected. Heck, this kind of publicity should have bought them all scholarships. Who wouldn't want to say that Spider-Man attends their college? Also, sure is a good thing MIT told these guys exactly why they weren't being accepted. Otherwise, this whole movie doesn't happen. MIT is like the person you're in love with in high school who's like, I'd really like to date you, but things are so crazy right now. Give me time to think about it. And then 1 week later, they're dating Brad. Brad. This dickhead Flash Thompson still gets into MIT, even though he wrote a book about being Peter's best friend. Jesus. I guess MIT saw through that bullshit and said, yeah, but he's not really Peter's friend, so let's accept this liar into our school. Dr. Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, Master of the Mystic Arts, is a dick to these guys for making them shovel up all this snow instead of poofing it away.
I'm gonna
Most famous person in the world, I know.
The only way Wong hears this is if his ears are apparating before the damn sparkle circle even starts. Do you only need to do the twirly-whirly ring finger thing to summon the swirly portal when you need to look cool? Because Wong's hands are holding suitcases and he seems to be making that appear at will.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Dr. Strange gets into this spell before even consulting Peter how it will work or asking any questions. He doesn't even ask, are you sure you want the people closest to you to forget you? Sorcery should have more considerations and barriers than a computer asking if you want to delete K-19 the Widowmaker off your hard drive.
Can't some people still know?
That's not how the spell works.
And yet that's exactly what you try to do here in a minute, as if there's some MJ, Ned, and Aunt May exception to the spell you're casting. I doubt the ancient sorcerers who made these spells were all about improvisation and ordering omissions a la carte.
Very difficult and dangerous to change it mid-casting.
Okay, but can you stop casting the spell and have a conversation first?
All right, fine. Everyone in the world's going to forget that you're Spider-Man except your girlfriend.
So, not that difficult to change mid-casting, then?
You changed my spell 6 times.
So some ordinary doofus can just say things in the middle of a sorcerer's spell and it counts?
Are you telling me that you didn't even think to plead your case with them first before you asked me to brainwash the entire world?
Dude, you took that brainwash the entire world assignment with very little prompting.
Flash, please come on and help me.
You know what I want.
Okay, I'll tell everyone that you're my best friend.
Except that's really not what Flash would want anymore, right? If people think he's Peter's best friend, then there's a good chance he gets rejected from MIT.
Where is she?
She left.
To go where?
To the airport.
I guess the Vice Chancellor told Flash exactly which of 3 possible airports she was going to, and what route she was going to take to get there, so that he could find her in the middle of all this traffic. So begins Spider-Man Icecapades. Come out to see your favorite characters. 3 times the villain, 3 times the excitement, 3 times the Spidey. Doors open 3 hours early for general admission to see Charlotte's Web-Slinger the Spider-Man cover band. Opening act, Chad Kroger. Enter your name into a drawing to see Alfred Molina's stunt double's morning skate. Green Goblin conveniently shows up right after Spider-Man gets Doc Ock under control. Wait, what? Did Doctor Strange know that Peter was about to get in a fight with the Green Goblin, or is this just a coincidence? If he knew this fight was about to happen, why didn't he transport the Green Goblin to a holding cell too?
It started pulling in everyone who knows Peter Parker's Spider-Man from every universe into this one.
Except for James Franco, he's, unavailable. Also, as fun as everyone seems to be having with all the old villains coming back, it would have been nice if some other villain we'd never seen before showed up from some other universe as of yet unrealized, with Jake Gyllenhaal playing one of the unrealized Spider-Mans. You could have had some major fun with that, guys, and you blew it.
I pursued it into the sewers where I found that slimy green son of a gun.
I wonder why Dr. Kurt Connors wasn't given his big moment to shine for a big applause. And again, why does he show up in a sewer while Doc Ock and Green Goblin show up exactly where Spider-Man was?
My friends and I just got a second chance to get into MIT, and if the school sees me fighting these crazy monsters...
The Vice Chancellor just watched him fight one of these monsters, and that secured him a place at MIT. If the admissions board continues to see him rescuing the world, isn't that going to strengthen his case even more? Honestly, this college acceptance thread being the inciting incident for the whole movie is weaker than using multiverses to get all your toys in the same sandbox.
I'm so sorry for dragging you into this. Listen, you just gotta help me find these guys.
You don't have to apologize, okay? You got us a second shot at MIT.
The whole reason you assholes didn't get into MIT in the first place is because you helped Peter do his Spider-Man shit. Peter's been moping this whole movie because he dragged MJ and Ned into his adventures. Now they get a second chance and Peter asks them to do more? And they agree?
As of now, you have detected 0 multiversal trespassers.
But I thought you could detect them all by yourself. Just 3 minutes ago you said...
After you left, I detected an otherworldly presence. I pursued it into the sewers.
So you're telling me you can detect lizards in sewers, but not like Electro?
You can work in the Undercroft.
The Undercroft?
Is this the place where gamers make Tomb Raider porn?
And witnesses say that they saw a monster flying through the air.
Peter told us he needed MJ and Ned to catch these guys, but we're seriously going with Ned knows how to use the internet as the justification for it?
Did you guys see that?
No.
I'm not surprised. Securing a phone like this helps us, the audience, but the camera on the back of the phone is almost always the way to go for picture quality. Also, does his Peter Tingle only work during the day?
What's happening?
And introducing the birthday boy who crashed a party of hundreds of genetically modified electric eels and lived a shocking life to the max. From the Amazing Spider-Man to Electro!
This is the second time Spider-Man has been saved by something completely ridiculous. This time it's Sandman showing up, for some reason. Anyway, everyone who clapped when Sandman appeared probably hated Spider-Man 3. That's the kind of movie this is.
I can't hold it much longer!
Why not? You're sand.
What did you just do to him?
No, it's okay, it's okay,
Did
it's
you
okay.
kill him?
Whoa, listen, I can explain everything, you just have to trust me.
Or you could tell him exactly what you did, instead of repeating the same platitude over and over, hoping for a different outcome. Hey, that's exactly what I do.
Dr. Kurt Connors, he was a scientist at Oscorp when I worked there.
It's weird that Max remembers Kurt when nobody else who watched that movie does.
Last I recall, you had bad teeth, glasses, and a comb-over.
How the hell would Connors know what Max originally looked like? The whole point was that no one knew who he was, and by the time he gained infamy, he was stuck looking like a zappy Navi.
I couldn't do any of this without you, so thank you.
Except you absolutely could. Even a Bing search would have yielded similar results. I get the intent here, and Spider Silk does conduct electricity, but there's no way this is a long-term fix, right? This is all still going to need proper repairing, and leaving all this webbing here will definitely land the blame at his feet. And being free from blame was the whole reason he did this in the first place.
I had him by the throat, and then I...
Doc Ock and Electro both talk about how they were about to die, killing Spider-Man, setting the foundation for this movie's Rehab the Villain story. But the movie seems to forget that several of the villains already had redemptive arcs. Doc Ock snapped out of it when Peter electrocuted him in the first movie, and he died trying to destroy his machine. Sandman had a huge redemptive arc in Spider-Man 3 and left the movie peacefully. Connors was cured at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man and even tried to protect Peter in the end credits scene. Even if the villains as portrayed here don't know their fates, giving them a magic cure-all ruins the redemptive arcs they've already achieved. Also, we don't hear any of the other stories about what the other villains were doing when they got sent here. We're supposed to assume they were all whisked away when they were fighting Spider-Man and about to die. How the f*** was Dr. Strange's spell that oddly specific?
What is that?
It's an ancient relic, the Machina de Cadavus.
The Ex-Cadabra Machina? Really?
Strange. We can't send them back. Not yet.
How does Peter not see this as something that has to happen, and as soon as possible? How does one guilt trip from Aunt May convince him that f***ing the entire multiverse is the right course here?
In the grand calculus of the multiverse, their sacrifice means infinitely more than their lives.
How the f*** do you know that? You just said earlier that nobody even really knows anything about the multiverse. Now you're talking about the grand calculus of the multiverse like you're God's will hunting.
I'm sorry, kid. If they die, they die.
Looks like Dr. Strange went to the Ivan Drago School of Perishing Things. Also, knowing that Peter already f***ed the spell up earlier, Strange continues with his ritual while Peter and his friends are in the same room. A button presents itself so that Strange can reverse the spell, and he waits. I guess the ritual demands a dramatic pause for it to work.
How are you doing that?
I have no idea.
You should not be able to do that.
No explanation is given for this. Why doesn't Strange keep using transporty loops in order to stop Peter swinging away? Why risk losing sight of it? In fact, why not teleport him straight into one of the cages in the dungeon?
What is this place?
The mirror dimension, where I'm in control.
Honestly, this Doctor Strange vs. Spider-Man mini-Civil War shouldn't even be a challenge, but Spidey somehow comes out on top in the end.
Parker, don't you realize that in the multiverse there are an infinite number of people who know Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and if that spell gets loose, they're all coming here.
Do you want Dane DeHaan to come here? Because that's how you get Dane DeHaan.
You know what's cooler than magic? Math.
Fine, I'll buy that Peter somehow uses his Parker prescience combined with geometry to figure out how to pull this off. But why does that immediately mute Strange's ability to bend this dimension to his will?
I can't promise you guys anything, but at least this way you actually get to go home and have a chance.
Let's talk about the villain's plan here. Yes, villain. Multiverse f***ery aside, what does Parker expect the outcome to be? Regardless of whether they're evil or not, they are still going to be sent back, supposedly, to the moments of their death. Even if they find a way around that, they still have to convince their universes that they aren't evil anymore. And if that works, they'll still be doing time for the crimes they've already committed. How does this ever have a happy ending?
If something bad happens, I'll text you, and then you just push this.
Why not have the box nearby in case you can't text her? You made a huge deal about needing MJ and Ned for your multiversal villain search, and all you did was make them surf the web. And you're about to bring villains around Aunt May and not give it a second thought.
But Peter, I swear, if I don't hear from you, I'm pressing the button.
You want to put some kind of time frame on that? Or secret signal? Or anything? No? Just gonna leave it as vague and as open to interpretation as possible. Sweet!
Where's Connors? He told me he wants to stay in the truck.
I'm sure he wants all sorts of things, but why are we leaving the murdery lizard man unattended? Peter does know that the anti-eviling hasn't happened yet, right?
It's a fabricator. It can analyze, design, construct basically anything.
Literally anything the plot desires. Man, it is damn hard to stay invested when the writers are so willing to lean on the Stark built-it cliche whenever they need a very specific piece of tech to move the plot along.
Kind of like who I am here.
Oh, does that mean in this universe you never did stealth?
How'd you end up like that anyway?
Periodically, the movie's momentum will come to a grinding halt as we get the condensed version of 5 other Spider-Man films. The problem is, it's so condensed that it doesn't really help anyone that hasn't seen the movies, but is obvious enough to be tedious to anyone that has.
The place where I worked at.
Dr. Connors mentioned that Max worked at Oscorp earlier, but it's weird that Max doesn't mention it by name here, and doesn't seem all that interested in the differences between the Willem Dafoe Norman Osborn and the short-lived Chris Cooper version from his world.
That totally worked!
This is a problem that would likely take years, and you solve it in a couple hours by using this fabricator that is literally an electronic superhero. With this machine, Peter could probably cure cancer and solve all sorts of world problems, just like that Elysium machine or that tent in Harry Potter. We'd much rather leave it collecting dust until there's a really good use for it, curing villains in other universes of their evil.
Well, not all of the electricity. I mean, obviously you know that you need electricity for your brain to function. Your nervous system is... I'm not really sure why I'm explaining electricity to you.
Because someone seems to think this surface-level awkward repartee is funny enough to keep us engaged for 2.5 hours. It is not! But that doodad was at like 90%, so shouldn't Electro at least be a little weaker? Or does it charge up and then suck everything out on the last bar? If that's the case, why not charge it up and put it on him at the last second? Basically, this is one more MacGuffin thingy that will work or not work exactly how and when the plot needs it to.
Now I gotcha.
Got him how? He's getting his ass kicked. He looks heroic as f*** right now. Plus, you're the only news channel with cameras on a battle between 4 super beings, and there is zero need to focus on making Peter look bad. Based on how easily Osborn and Parker are falling through these floors, I can only assume that Strange's spell had the bizarre side effect of turning this building into polystyrene.
It didn't work.
Because reasons. We're never told why this serum doesn't work, other than the movie needs May dead, because, well, reasons. Peter's crashed through several floors, and this goblin bomb blows him the hell up, but it's okay. He's got that incredible strength of a spider, infamous for their inability to be killed.
You did the right thing. They would have been killed.
First off, there are 3 villains who we know didn't die in their respective movies, but let's take it further. Sandman remembers Green Goblin and Doc Ock dying in his universe, but what if they're Green Goblin and Doc Ock from a completely different universe? Forget all the things that will make us have to take sense back, because it's much too late and we're too stubborn. We're talking about infinite universes and infinite versions, and nobody ever stopped to say, shh, we don't know shit about fucking anything to make an informed decision.
You have power. And with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
This rings so hollow in this film for a number of reasons, but mainly it's because we could reasonably argue that sending the villains back without rehab would have been the responsible thing to do. The only power Spider-Man has in this case is Stark tech that is magic. Interfering with a multiverse you know nothing about is irresponsible. Also, responsibility. Take your aunt to the hospital right now! Your Aunt May just got hit by Green Goblin's glider and tons of debris just seconds ago, and a bomb went off shortly thereafter. You're a dick, Peter.
Me?
I know movies need inciting incidents like this to motivate their protagonists, and naturally, the more traumatic the better, but it's beginning to feel like the only way Marvel knows how to do this is by taking an almost literal sledgehammer to a beloved character. We've seen it with Coulson, Frigga, Groot, Iron Man, Black Widow, Quicksilver, Yondu, Odin, T'Chaka, Gamora, Vision, Ajax. Holy shit, they really do this all the f***ing time.
Get on it now! Move!
How the f*** did Happy manage to drive right past whatever cordon had been set up by this SWAT team, and why didn't they immediately open fire on this sketchy-looking car storming into their active f***ing war zone? Why are we firing on Spider-Man? Why are we opening fire on anybody, you dicks?
When will people wake up and realize that everywhere Spider-Man goes, chaos and calamity ensue?
I still can't get on board with the argument that all this destruction and shit would be blamed on Spider-Man instead of the guy dropping the bombs, the giant lizard that threw him through the window, or the metal octopus man. This is like blaming paramedics for causing car crashes because they're always found at the scene. Quick question, do Ned or MJ have the same problem with Mysterio's fans that Peter does? Or are they just totally in the clear despite being very visible faces in that whole controversy? Ned can just stay at home without bricks getting thrown through the window from crazed Mysterio f***ers? Must be nice.
I'm gonna press it.
What? No,
He told me to wait, but...
No, what you actually said was...
But Peter, I swear, if I don't hear from you, I'm pressing the button.
Now, not only has that ship sailed, it's also towing the funeral barge carrying Aunt May's dead remains.
I just wish we could see him.
The sheer random chance that this movie relies on is unbelievable. The arrival of Garfield and Maguire only happens because A, Ned suddenly has a history of magic in the family, B, he steals the sling ring from Strange, C, keeps the damn thing on, and D, accidentally waves his hand around while making a wish to see Peter.
Peter!
Why is the Garfield Peter just hanging out in a f***ing alley? I know the anticipation anticipated meeting between all the Spider-Men is a huge selling point for this movie, but they did it in this really passive way. Why don't they show up in the middle of an action scene?
But then yesterday, I was just here.
Yesterday? What is the nature of the containment that Dr. Strange put around the spell? He said he contained it, but apparently people are still slipping through the cracks somehow, in dramatically relevant order.
I don't carry an ID with me, you know, it kind of defeats the whole anonymous superhero thing.
Dude, of the 3 Spider-Mans, you are the worst at keeping your identity a secret. You have never given a shit about this, and you willingly stepped into a portal and removed your mask as soon as you could.
The superhero thing? Why'd you do that?
I was trying to see if you have the tingle thing.
Okay, the bread bit is pretty funny, but why does MJ find it so hard to believe this Spider-Man is Peter Parker? She knows the spell is pulling in people from different dimensions, so I feel like this was more about showing us Andrew Garfield doing spider things than it was about putting MJ at ease. And now here's the other asshole just wandering around in street clothes like he's just coming off a 16-hour session at Molly Bloom's poker game.
Wait, he's not your friend.
So wait, you know about the Spider-Man dynamics in this world, but you've just been hanging out until you saw a portal appear in front of you? These are the most worthless Spider-Men since that one that showed up as a villain in The Revenge of Shinobi. I really have no idea why the Garfield Spider-Man starts shooting webs at the Maguire one. Did either of them get spider sense when they saw the other? Do either of them seem threatening? Why does everybody make uninformed decisions in this movie?
This might seem kind of weird, but I've been trying to find your friend ever since I got here.
To make matters worse, all the aforementioned conveniences are totally unnecessary. Both of them were on their way to find this universe's Spider-Man regardless, and convinced they just had no idea what to do with MJ and Ned in this movie.
I just have this sense that he needs my help.
But I totally didn't get the sense that there was any trouble happening in Happy's apartment building a couple hours ago. I completely whiffed on all that commotion. Too busy waiting for my cue.
There's some people here.
They're hanging out super high up on this tower because why would they do anything f***ing normal like simply walk up and greet you like fellow humans? Jesus Christ, for a minute there I thought these Spider-Men were going to turn into Zool and Vince Clortho.
My Uncle Ben was killed.
I lost Gwen.
Dude, you lost your Uncle Ben too. Are you even going to acknowledge that?
Try to keep going, try to keep being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, because I know that's what she would have wanted.
No, I'm pretty sure what Gwen would have wanted was a chance to pursue that scholarship at Oxford.
At some point, I stopped pulling my punches. I got rageful.
Peter describes a post-Amazing Spider-Man 2 life that I'm absolutely certain a bunch of bros are going to demand now that they've forgotten they hated the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. Also, isn't it kind of strange that Electro got sent here just before he died, but Peter got sent here in what we have to assume is years after his confrontation with Electro?
I hunted down the man who I thought did it. I wanted him dead. I got what I wanted.
I'm just going to leave it there. No need to provide further context that guy tripped over some weird pipe and fell out a window. It's a better story if you think I'm a murdering asshole.
It took me a long time to learn to get through that darkness.
You know, you just dance around Manhattan, pointing and leering at chicks while James Brown plays in the background.
I think I can make an anti-serum for Dr. Osborn. Been thinking about it a long time.
Oh, no you haven't.
You have someone?
Bloop!
Peter!
Yeah? Oh, sorry. Did you mean?
Okay. It would have been pretty shocking to get 3 Spider-Men on screen and not do the 3-way Spider-Man meet. And there are certainly more distracting ways they could have chosen to do it. Take your sins back movie, but you're walking a fine line between cool nod and pandering.
We could portal there.
What?
I'm magic now.
It'd be great if you guys practiced a bit first, but instead of doing that, you'll just jump right into the plan without testing it even once.
Okay, guys, it could be any minute now.
I mean, presuming that Electro, Goblin, Sandman, and the sewer-dwelling lizard are all waiting by a TV that's tuned into the Daily Bugle, it's gonna take hours, or never.
You never had a web block? Because I run out of webs all the time. I have to make my own in a lab.
This whole scene on the top of the Statue of Liberty is funny and all, but it plays like some sort of 3-minute video you run across while scrolling through Twitter when you find out that Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland got together for, I don't know, Crohn's disease awareness or something, and decided to do this for charity, and Josh Gad is there for some reason.
What are, like, some of the craziest villains that you guys have fought?
The other Peters will go on to describe Venom and the Rhino, 2 villains we've already seen. Why not use this opportunity to include the f***ing audience in the fun and tell us some shit we haven't seen?
Look, you give it to me, I'm gonna destroy it.
What's stopping him from destroying it now? Zap it already. You don't need him to f***ing give it to you. Ned can't close the portal, even though he had to have done it earlier after the other Peters came through. Or did he? Are there portals still open in Ned's grandmother's house?
I need Max's cure!
Yeah, I'm on it!
Peter, I need the lizard cure!
Just wondering, why didn't they make several different sets of these serums for each Spider-Man to have? And some spares? The fabricator machine is a goddamn miracle, so this would have been easy to do. Also, the fate of multiple universes rests on this plan working, and somehow they didn't talk about how they were going to retrieve the villain cures once they were stashed away. Why bother stashing them in the first place? I mean, this one is barely even hidden. Why not strap it to your damn leg with some web?
Where's the box, Peter?
Flint, we can help everyone!
I don't care!
Wait, doesn't Sandman want to get back to his universe and get a shot at seeing his daughter? Heck, Peter is even giving him a chance to be human again. To be honest, I don't really understand why anyone is fighting anyone right now, but Sandman's motivations are the most baffling by far.
All we gotta do is focus, trust your tingle, and coordinate our attacks.
By saying it, we can make it happen with no practice whatsoever. It's how the New York Mets won in 1986. Also, they had all sorts of time to plan. It's not like the villains were going to imminently start destroying things, because they know they'd get zapped back to their dimensions if they did that. So honestly, they had lots of time to plan this out and do this right, and decided to do a rush job like it's Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Okay, Peter 1, Peter 2.
Peter 2.
Peter 3.
Peter 3.
Andrew Garfield is the best.
Peter 2, go right. Peter 3, go left. On me.
The other thing about this plan to attack each villain one at a time is that the villains have been super helpful about that. Electro looks absolutely lost for some reason, showing up here just before they cure Sandman and then inexplicably vanishes from the action until the movie is ready for him again. And where is Green Goblin? He's at home, washing his tights. Honestly don't know what Doc Ock has been doing the whole time, but wow, what amazing timing he has, showing up when all seemed lost.
There's gotta be a black Spider-Man somewhere out there.
Movie somehow does not contain a Miles Morales.
You're all grown up. How are you?
Good of Green Goblin to delay his appearance this long so that Otto and Peter can have this moment. By the way, is anyone on the lookout for him? Anyone worried?
Can the Spider-Man come out to play?
Oh, f*** you, Green Goblin, I'm over it. You could have been here way earlier and you weren't, and I have absolutely no faith that you can take on 3 Spider-Men, Otto, and Doctor Strange by yourself.
Are you okay?
Okay, alright, I'll give you sin off for that. Goblin just stands there and lets Peter pull this shit, as if he hasn't got a clue he's there. Where is he even flying to? Peter shoots Norman with one web on his foot and declares job over. He saw Norman get free from a web earlier, but that doesn't stop him from commencing with the punching. I'm sorry, but this intervention doesn't mean shit. Peter 1 is a murderer. He had committed to decapitating Osborn with his own sled. And Peter 2 stepping in at the last second to stop him doesn't change shit. What it does is take away all of Peter 1's agency and rob us of knowing if he's actually experienced any growth from the last 2.5 hours. Hey, remember earlier when I said I was mad about Marvel killing off characters as a lazy way to build tension and empathy? Well, I think you can probably guess how I feel about pretending to kill a character for the same effect. It's about f***ing time. Andrew and Toby just sat there while Tom wailed on Willem, and they could have slipped him the serum during that bullshit 10 minutes ago.
But this time make everyone forget who Peter Parker is.
No.
But it would work, right?
Yeah, it would work.
How the f*** can that possibly work? The scope of that spell is mind-boggling. This means rewriting every interaction that Peter has ever had and retconning the memories of billions of people. Does Stark come to find him in Civil War? Does Aunt May just not have a nephew? How does she end up involved with Spider-Man? Does the memory of things people did with Peter have blurring, or a photo of Mark Wahlberg's face taped over Tom Holland's?
Thank you, sir.
Call me Stephen.
Fitting that Stephen Strange pulls the full Snake Plissken just as everyone's memory of Peter is about to escape from New York. My God, man, I'm surprised Gandalf and Frodo don't show up to board the boat to the Grey Havens. This ending is so long.
Well, if he were a hero, he'd unmask himself and tell us who he really is.
No, seriously, I want to know what happened to the video from the call last night when Peter told J. Jonah he was on the Statue of Liberty. Did the video vanish? Are you going to deprive me of this video that now shows Mark Wahlberg's face taped over Tom Holland's? MJ's expression here is some absolute Holland-teasing bullshit. I don't even think she could see Ned when she started down the path of this wistful stare, and even if she had, there's no f***ing reason for her to be looking at Ned like she hasn't seen him in 5 years.
MIT, they're the engineers, the mascot.
Expositing to your friend instead of getting the order of the customer you just started serving. Putting a lid on a stranger's coffee in a way that means there is no f***ing chance of their lips touching something your fingers haven't.
Kind of expect disappointment.
Because then you'll never actually be disappointed.
Why is MJ so shocked by Peter's reply? This is a pretty common expression, right? This feels like saying knock knock and being surprised when someone says who's there.
Doesn't really hurt anymore.
Do Ned and MJ constantly ask themselves why they were at the Statue of Liberty the night 3 Spider-Man attacked villains from different universes? We know that still happened because J. Jonah Jameson was yelling about it earlier. Speaking of which, does anybody ask themselves why 3 Spider-Men were at the Statue of Liberty?
How'd you know her?
You see, this to me is the huge contradiction in somehow not remembering Peter. What's happening to Happy's memory? Does he vaguely remember someone talking to MJ over FaceTime? Or do I have to bring up Mark Wahlberg's name again? If I say his name one more time, he appears in my house and eats my leftovers, so someone needs to answer this question already.
You're saying that this whole place here, it's just tons of super people.
Is this movie trying to say that Venom was brought here by the Doctor Strange spell? When did the Tom Hardy Venom know Peter was Spider-Man? Is this supposed to be the Topher Grace Venom, but with Tom Hardy? What the f*** is the meaning of this? Not content with simple scenes that tease movies that act as trailers, Marvel puts an actual goddamn trailer for Doctor Strange 2 at the end of this movie.
The air is foul with decay, but worse are the webs.
That's not how the spell works.
Once again, things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday!
Everyone in the world's gonna forget that you're Spider-Man, except your girlfriend.
Thank you so much.
I wish for a turkey sandwich on rye bread with lettuce and mustard and I don't want any zombie turkeys. I don't want to turn into a turkey myself.
Steven, listen, I am so...
Call me Snake.
You know, I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Pretty please, with sugar on top. Clean the f***ing car.
I like the way you die, boy.
Hey, Peter.
What's happening?
You didn't see anything.
The Statue of Liberty? Good God, folks! What the sh**?
This is merely superconductor electromagnetism. Surely you've heard of it. Heard up!
Dr. Connors?
We were supposed to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, destroy a piece of corporate art, and trash a franchise coffee bar.
Did I do that?